So whether you're launching, you're ready to scale, figuring out what's next, we discuss the nitty-gritty, the hard bits, the opportunities, and the behind the scenes of business, and share how we can grow our companies, and you can grow your companies using digital and business resources. And we're so glad that you're here. Hi, Kylie. How are you?
Yay! I'm glad to be here too. How are you?
I'm great. I've had a massive week. We're moving into get keys for a new house today, which is so exciting.
Very exciting. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you, Jenni.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a massive day. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I love the moving in process. And I've just been working with this feng shui client where it's all about thanking your home and then leaving it ready for the next people that move in terms of the energy for it and getting your new home ready. And it, like, as I was reading it and writing it or just being involved in it, it was giving me lots of ideas. And I was like, yeah, there's nothing like a fresh start, is there?
No, and that's, I mean, I love the moving process. I know my family think I'm a little bit crazy, as do most of my friends, but the whole kind of packing and then unpacking and kind of being able to set the home up, and because I guess it is our home and we can, do what we want, and we can paint the walls, we can put holes in the walls. It doesn't really matter now. Like, we own the place. So it's a pretty exciting step. And so I think setting up that kind of home, a little bit like a nesting, I think, for me, I really enjoy the process, and it gives you an opportunity to like cleanse and get rid of things that you just don't use anymore. So I think we've got 2 ute loads worth of things that are going to Vinnie's this weekend, of clothes and furniture and stuff that we just don't use. And so it gives us an opportunity to refresh.
Oh, that clearing out is so good. Yep. And our topic today is talking about digital things. We're talking about apps, but that really makes me think about when you talking about your home, because when you sent me the link to the, when you'd bought it and all of that, what was so cool is how far technology has come. I went on a tour of your home. It followed me. I mean, I literally followed it up into every bedroom, into every single part of it, which is super weird for the people that, have currently lived there. And that's their place that I'm. So it was literally like I was 2 hours away from here with you in Brisbane looking at the house. It was extraordinary, that technology.
It is pretty cool, actually. When I discovered the virtuals, it was actually really good for like planning where furniture's going, because we saw so many houses. Michael and I are thinking, what do we do? We remember this room, and I can remember it. He's like, I have no idea which house you're talking about. So I'd take him into the house, and we could go into the room and say, see, this is where this is, and this is where that is, and it really just reminds you about what you looked at. Yeah, it's such a cool. I mean, up until today, realestate.com was probably one of as an app was probably one of my favorite apps to use. Not for business, but it was like, house, kind of scrolling through house and getting into the rabbit hole of looking at amazing houses and homes. So now I don't have the app on my phone. It was deleted because I was told we have one. There's no need to look anymore.
Yeah, so good on you.
I have to find a new one now.
Well, it will be exciting setting up your home office and
definitely
the house as well. There's lots of fun times ahead for you, Jenni.
There definitely is. I'm really excited. So
awesome. So do you want to kick off with your favorite app that you use on your smartphone?
Yeah, I have my apps are kind of a bit of a higgledy-piggledy set of apps, actually, and the one I wasn't going to use, but I'm going to talk about that I've used, particularly in the house move and when I'm planning things, is just notes on an iPhone. Just the notes opportunity. I don't know if anyone realizes how great Notes is on your iPhone, or the equivalent on, I think there's an Android version. I love it because you can share your notes with other people, and then you can collaborate in the notes function. So I've done that with Michael. I've done that with my team members when we're organizing and planning some of our retreats, and we can actually tick off and create task lists and action plans, insert tables, a whole lot of things that you can actually then share that information with somebody live, and then they can actually collaborate with you through your notes. And I've used that a lot, as I said, for planning events, organizing, workshops and things like that, but also just sharing like quotes or information or notes with clients. If I have feedback on their coaching sessions, I've actually written notes in the note format and then actually just shared the note with them, so we can share information. So one that's a little bit obscure, native to an iPhone. I'm not sure what the equivalent for an Android is, but such an underused app on your phone.
So when you share that note with the client, what happens if they're not on an iPhone?
I'm not sure. I've only ever sent it with people who've been on an iPhone. So it's I should try actually.
Me too, because I do that all the time also, but not with clients, but with family members and things. And it's so awesome. And for example, we have, like for Disney and Stan and Netflix and all of that, we have all the passwords sitting in OneNote, and then I share that with the family. And then when I update them, I can just do it in there and it automatically updates for them also. Yeah. But one thing that I think people underutilize is this crossing over between all of your devices. So for example, as long as you're logged in on the cloud everywhere, so I can pull it up on my laptop, I can pull it up on my desktop, my iPad, my iPhone, it's everywhere. And they're all the same notes. But only on the iCloud, but took me a little while where had a few notes I couldn't find. And then I realized they weren't in the iCloud section where I'd written them. But and then obviously it's really easy to move them too. So I'm with you. The only way I would make that better is that if it just had a little more functionality in terms of making things color, making things, so it is basic in terms of that, but in terms of what it can do is so cool. So I'm with you. That is just a really, really awesome app. And also like you, though, I have no idea about the Android one, but yeah, the iPhone version of Notes is brilliant. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm a big fan.
That's my first one.
I'm gonna go on to LastPass because of the fact that I brought up about the passwords that I'm sharing. I actually also have a family vault within my LastPass subscription. However, they don't really use it, just me. So the sharing of it is not so good unless, they're prepared to use it. However, I can't say the last time I even had a credit card on me when I actually needed to share my credit card details. Like if you're sitting on the couch online shopping, you can then just pull up LastPass and there are your cards, which I just think is amazing. I love it. And also another thing, and it's probably not at all native to Apple, but I pull up the credit card on LastPass, I press copy on the card numbers on my phone, and then I press paste on my laptop. And it's just a little bit of magic every time. It gives me a bit of joy that has. So
that is very cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, and vice versa. So copy and then paste on another device, and also with the iPad and the iPhone as well. So I really, really like that feature.
I do love LastPass on the phone. It's such a great way of managing passwords, and I completely agree. I have LastPass on my phone as well for the same reason. It just makes it easier to manage passwords. You don't have to use rather than using the kind of Google Chrome or the Chrome kind of passwords, it's a bit more secure. And you've got control over who's seeing your passwords.
Well, our good buddy Brad from XY Zulu, he says do not touch Google Chrome passwords. It's so problematic. And don't have all your life locked away in there, which so many people do. So with something like LastPass, and I actually moved on to it after you liked it, because before that I was using one password and then I got locked out and then I couldn't get anything back. Now that's actually a good thing, but it's also a really bad thing. So I went to LastPass, learned my lesson the hard way the first time about your master key and all of that. But that's a really, really magic app, that LastPass. I would say it's expensive when you're paying up front for a year because you're thinking, oh, it's just my passwords, but it's really worth every penny. So I'm a big, big fan of that one. What's your next one, Jenni?
My next one is actually, it's more for business rather than just kind of productivity, but it has a little bit of productivity. So I use Xero. We know it's my preferred kind of financial system for the business. And I use Xero on my phone to either update invoices, make paid invoices, but what I use it a lot for is to actually record expenses when I'm out and about, particularly when I'm traveling with client work. I can actually scan my receipts and add it into the receipt. So when my bookkeeper actually is doing the reconciliation for my BAS or my weekly review of my accounts, they can actually see the receipt and allocate it directly to the payment. So it speeds up my reconciliations. I have the receipt directly when I'm there, and then I can throw it out. I don't have to worry about carrying around receipts with me, coming home and doing taking the photos and uploading them. It goes straight into the app. And rather than using third-party products, which I used to use HubDoc, which was appropriate for like desktop stuff. But on my phone, instead of having to open up a separate app and then transfer that into Xero later and do the reconciliation, Xero as an app on your phone is phenomenal. And I only found it probably 6 or 7 months ago. I used to think I had to do everything online, but I find it an amazing app to, as I said, you can create invoices on the fly. You can put payments in against invoices. You can update content. If you're with a client, they say, oh, can we change this? If the scope changes, you can resend reminders, all those things as you do on the desktop. But the biggest one is capturing your expenses and your receipts straight into your phone.
I totally agree with you about that. And I'm glad you brought it up, because it's reminding me now I've really got to do it. I've got a bunch of receipts sitting next to me. It's like, boom, just do it.
Yeah, and we do it every time. But what I've also done is, because my partner also has it on his phone, he can actually scan the receipts into Xero as well. So I don't have to worry about it. So we can actually capture the receipts and get it done much more quickly, because it saves me having to do that reconciliation. So I have the receipt, and there's nothing worse than 10 receipts in your car or your handbag or your wallet. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to sit and do all those things. You just don't do them, right? And
absolutely.
3 seconds, I'm done.
Yeah. I have to say, though, about that Xero app, that I've always found it a bit lacking in ability. Like, I might need to look at something that is just not even possible on the app. So then I've got to log in on my phone and look at it weenie. It's clearly not mobile optimized, their website, and because they think you're going to use the app. But yeah, I feel it's really lacking in what you might need to look at. And yeah, bit of a bummer, but the receipt side of it is good for sure.
Yeah, it does. I agree. The dashboard is limited in what you can see on the dashboard. It's nowhere near as functional as the full desktop app.
Yeah,
I completely, or the web app. I completely agree with that. But yeah, I pretty much use it to. I mean, I've created invoices after a phone call when I've been sitting on either sitting in the Qantas Club or traveling somewhere, and I can just create the invoice and send it. And that functionality is pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to take another look. Maybe they've done an update lately.
Maybe.
Oh, impressive. All right.
So what's your next one?
Well, actually, it's not one that I had in my list that I wanted to share, but I realized as soon as you started talking about money that I really needed to bring this one up. And that is the Wise app, because I pay all my team through Wise. So really simple, boom, boom, boom. And I feel really good about that. I've used other money transfers over time, and this one to me is a really great and simple process. So yeah, definitely Wise, W-I-S-E. I haven't got much more to say about that, but it seems really reliable and good. I've been using it now for, I say, well over a year. So,
and yeah. I didn't even think about it till you mentioned it as well. Yeah, Wise, we use that to pay our team as well. And it's so functional, and also multi-currency. What's great about Wise is the simplicity of doing multi-currency transfers, adding money into the account. But what I love about it, and I've only ever transferred money in and out of, I use the actual money in the Wise app to pay because it reduces the fees. But if you haven't had a chance to transfer money in and you're in a hurry, I like the fact that you can actually pay directly from either Pay ID or through a bank transfer in the app. So it'll actually connect to that app directly. So you don't have to actually have money in the Wise account. You can pull it from your business account just as easily. And I do love that functionality of Wise.
And actually, I never do. I never have money sitting in the Wise account. I do it every time that exact way, and I pay with Apple Pay through Wise, which I absolutely love.
This is amazing.
One thing happened. I used to do that, where I transferred the money every time the day before, et cetera, et cetera. And one time that money went missing, and it's I've never got to the bottom of it. So that was a whole week's wages gone, and Wise couldn't get to the bottom of it. My bank couldn't. It was just one of those things.
Wow.
So that's why I've never done it since then. Now I always make sure it just gets pulled as it's needed. And for that little extra % I'm paying, I'm okay with that, because it's better than losing.
And it's convenience, right? That's the thing about the apps on your phone. All these apps, whether it's the Xero, whether it's, the notes, whether it's Wise or even LastPass, it's really about actually just the convenience of having the information available for you, and that absolutely. You can streamline we're saving 1 or 2 minutes in each app, but that's 5 minutes that we've got back just in this conversation, which means you can spend more time with your family, or you can, spend more time with clients, or doing the sales that you need to do for business. You can actually, streamline your time doing this kind of grunt work.
That's exactly right. So the next one, what would you like to say for your next favorite?
Our next favorite that our team use religiously is Slack. We love Slack. We talked about Slack last week, but Slack for us is the best way to communicate. Again, as I said, I'm traveling a lot. I don't often have access to the desktop, so I can actually talk and communicate and connect with my team, share information really quickly using the Slack app. And I've used it a lot with clients when I'm delivering workshops. So we have the team who are as part of the workshop delivery all on Slack. And so we can message each other through Slack. Everyone is aware and updated of what's happening. And it's, that message is captured straight away and you get really simple notifications.
I'm with you 100%. I actually had a couple here that I wanted to mention that also were from last week as platforms, but I agree with you on Slack. I use that on the phone often, and also because of course, put it on the phone and boom, it appears on your desktop. So really love that capability. But also I wanted to mention Calendly for the same reason, that if I'm looking for a link or whatever, boom, it's sitting there in Calendly. Very, very simple. I can also set up a new link for someone. So again, both of those platforms, great on phones, great on desktop, laptop. So I think that that's really awesome. But my next one that I would like to mention is, and whenever I've talked about this, you have a little chuckle. It's Hi Hello. So Hi Hello is so clever and so cool. And hello, no more business cards. So it has a QR code. I've got a personal business card set up on it. I've got a business card, and also you've got all your links to all of your socials, your website, your everything, and then you just open up your phone, scan my Hi Hello business card, and boom, you've got it in yours. It's a beautiful way to be collecting people that you're meeting along the way. And I go to this personal training thing with this small group, and every single time the woman says to me, can you bring your business card next week? I really want to work with you or whatever. And I'm like, just hi hello me. And she's like, I just don't use a smartphone, and I blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, we're going to be having a hard time working together anyway, because I'm all about the digital. But yeah, so sometimes you're still going to need a business card, but I love Hi Hello for paper-free office.
I love that. It's a screening question for you. If you don't use Hi Hello, don't work with me, because I'm all about the tech. I love that. That's a good way to work out if someone's the right fit for you, right?
When she says I don't have a smartphone, I'm like, this is going to be tricky.
Yeah.
This is going to be really tricky. What's your next one, Jenni?
Yeah, the last one for us is Airtable. So we talked about Airtable again. We've got this kind of crossover between apps for your desktop, but also on your phone. And we use Airtable not just to kind of, again, for our social media on the phone, but we've used it for events as check-ins. So when we used to run live meetups and face-to-face meetups here in Brisbane back in the day, it seems like a long time ago since we did that. But in those days, my team would actually have all the registrations on Airtable. And as people came in, they'd actually just tick them off directly into the app on Airtable. So when we had the kind of wrap up for the event, I could come back, do my review, and I'd see exactly who was here, who wasn't here. If you had new registrations drop in, we could actually type them straight into the app, so that we could actually get a live and a really clear idea of who came, who was there, and we would record little notes against it too, using the app.
Wow.
So things like who won the bottle of wine, or who won the free coaching session, or whatever it was actually then recorded. And again, it's live, so my team could actually see the information immediately. And we have a great record that we can then download and utilize to kind of connect with people.
Oh, I love that. I've never ever thought of looking at the chicken option, but that's super cool. That's a great tip, Jenni. Thanks.
I've also used it, actually, the other one I'm going to throw in, I've also used it to do media releases for events. So you can actually create a form in Airtable on your phone, and people can actually, when they come and check in, they actually do their check-in information. In the days, again, we can do COVID checks. You can say, I want to sign a media release. You can read all that information, and they use it themselves. So, and they can actually access on their phone, but they don't actually realize they're using Airtable. They just think it's a form.
That's
but it's actually
so cool.
They're accessing Airtable. Yeah.
That's so cool, Jenni. I'm super impressed with that. Definitely, I need to look at some more of the functionalities on it, because it's brilliant. By the way, do you use the paid version or the free version?
So I have been using the free version for most of my time. There was a period of time where I was using the paid version. I didn't realize I got charged like $600 for something, for the amount of, because people were in it, which kind of blew my mind. And I was a little bit annoyed by that. I'm not going to lie, but we're back to just using the free version. We just manage our content in some of the areas. We had the issue with us moving into a paid was the number of records that we had in a particular base. So we've just manage our bases and the number of people who can collaborate in it. So
that's a really frustrating thing, isn't it? Because I've never paid for it, and I'm super happy to pay for it because honestly, I think it's brilliant. But I wouldn't pay for what it is that they want in this particular thing, which is when you share a base, which we share in every workshop or every client or whatever. So one base you could be sharing with 50 people as a one-off for them to use it. And I can't remember what the cost is, but it's just extraordinary.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. I'd rather for us as a team pay to use it and then have, unlimited functionality. But that to me seems a really odd thing, that sharing one base repeatedly is what will get you in sticky water. So
yeah, and that's what we had. We didn't realize that at the time. It was because we were on the free plan. Then all of a sudden, it just we kind of got hit with this invoice, and I was like, what the heck? But yeah, so there are, and I guess it goes back to that conversation. Sometimes you use the free version and you don't realize that it's clicked over into the paid version, or either you missed the notification, or you're just like, it's fine, it won't worry. But it's really important, I think, when you're using any of these apps, whether on your phone, particularly on your phone, when they do the in-app purchases, and again, you're not quite, sometimes you do that by accident. I know colleagues of mine who've done that, who've ended up with massive bills from using in-app purchases without realizing it. It's really important to check out the pricing and make sure you've got the functionality right for you.
That's such a good point. So I recently was trialing something, free to 7-day trial. I specifically had set a reminder on my phone to go and cancel it because I knew already after just the first uses that the free version was fine for me. I wasn't going to really need that paid one. Next thing, $412 or something charged to my card. And I'm like, wow. And I definitely had cancelled it. They were great though. They refunded it and all that was fine. But of course, then there was like a $30 fee that I lost because they said, for whatever reason. Anyway, I'm like, wow, that's just annoying. But that's just such a good reminder that signing up for those free trials or free versions, you've got to remember to cancel it before you end up getting a year in advance that you've paid for, which is
it's the gym membership, right? We'll go in and do the free trial of gym membership, and then you forget that they're going to start charging your card the week later, and you're like, why am I paying $50 for a gym I'm not going to?
Yes, there you go.
And then you just never go back into it.
My last is actually two last ones that I want to share, and they both are around graphics. So you and I both use Canva. We rave about it a lot. In fact, I've got a new Canva course coming up and all the latest new things to use on it. However, I don't rave about the Canva app. I do not like the Canva app. I use it as little as I possibly can. And mostly it might be to do one tiny edit or just literally to download something onto my phone. So try and really avoid using that. So what I've been using, and I reckon it's at least 10 years, if not more, that I've been using this app for, is WordSwag. So if you want to make some graphics on the fly, and often that'll happen, I'll come up with a little light bulb moment of a quote, by yours truly, and I'm like, I'm not going to wait to go and create it on Canva, and I don't want to just write it in notes, which I would have previously done, because actually I could make it. Then I get on a roll and I've suddenly made 20 quotes. And then I can, upload them to the desktop or whatever and schedule them and all of that, or I can just natively post them directly. It's a really, really cool one. The issue is that WordSwag used to be $3.95 for anyone as a one-off purchase. But now if you're on Android, it's still $3.95 as a one-off purchase. But if you're on an iPhone, it's a monthly subscription. So that's a bit of a bummer. So it's only worth it if you're really going to use it a lot, but I really do use it a lot. You can do A4, you can do a flyer, you can do, a social post, you can do anything with it. There's also the sister version of it called Story Swag, where you've got animation in there and stuff like that, and that's only on subscription. So I definitely think, though, that the WordSwag's a winner. The alternative to WordSwag, if you're an iPhone user and you don't want a subscription, is Typorama. That's such a very, very cool app. But again, I say, for the opposite way around, use it, get it if you're an iPhone user, because it's a one-off payment. But if you're an Android user, it'll charge you monthly. So yeah, basically then I'm saying WordSwag if you're WordSwag if you're Android, Typorama if you're iPhone. Anyway, but that was just under one heading. My last one that I'm going to share, which is also around graphics, but it's really, really not graphics. It's really video. And it's how I create quite a lot of reels, is CapCut. I love the CapCut app. It's free. All my team use it. We absolutely love it. In fact, the other day, Honey even made a presentation using CapCut that we used for a big YouTube thing. Haven't uploaded it yet, but it's just going to be amazing, where you can even put me speaking down in the corner, show some other stuff up and behind. Pretty amazing. Wow. So have a look at the CapCut app for free, and really, it definitely is going to help you. Even just if you want to pull in 5 photos, put them into CapCut, use some great little dissolves, and boom, you've got yourself a reel out of nothing but images.
Very cool.
So yeah,
the word swag. I know the word swag. I've seen a word swag on Apple. That's a free version of that word swag. Is that a different one to the one you're talking about? I
never recommend those sort of ones for free, because you've got the word swag logo.
Okay, makes sense.
Which doesn't excite me. But yeah, you can have a play around with it for sure on the free version.
Cool. Well, that's good to know. So we're going to put all the links for all those in the chat and also on Facebook. So if you're listening in on this, and we'll put it obviously in the comments for those listening to the podcast. But these are really cool apps that you need to play with, that we think you should play with, because they improve your productivity, don't they? And ultimately, we're not just telling you apps that you kind of go in a rabbit hole and start spending time kind of, it's not.
Yeah, notice we didn't mention Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of those.
No, exactly, because this is about productivity. This is how to actually boost your business and actually work smarter. And so what's great about your phone, we spend so much time on our phone, either driving to and from meetings, while you're in training courses, whatever it might be. And these apps really do improve your productivity and help you actually just work smarter. And that's what we like about using apps on their phone. I don't use many. The ones that I've got are the core ones that I use. In fact, when I got my first iPhone, or this iPhone that I have now, a lot of the kind of native apps to iPhone, I actually deleted because I don't use them. And so I'm like taking off apps which are, native when you first purchase the iPhone, because they just become things that waste time, and rather actually focusing on the act.
I'm actually app addicted. I have so many apps, and I've got my folders, so my phone's so well organized in its folders and all of that. But I even have apps for plant identifiers and all kinds of things.
Wow.
But I recently found this really cool little new feature on the iPhone, where you go into the shortcuts section, which is an app, and then you choose, for example, to text Jenni. And then I can put Jenni's face in that as a button, and then boom, that's like a little app on my phone. I just click your face, and then it's text Jenni. So,
oh wow. That's actually very cool.
Yeah, I've got all my family set up there with phone or FaceTime or whatever it needs to be. So yeah, just again, it's productivity. It's making things quicker without going through all the stages.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love talking about the tech. So let's come up with a surprise topic tomorrow. We'll announce it next week. We'll announce it when we're on the go. So bite-sized conversations every Friday morning, 9:15, and look forward to seeing you then. And Jenni, how can everyone connect with you?
Best way to connect with me, Facebook and Insta on @Elephant in the Room AU. If you type @Elephant in the Room into Google, you'll find all our different socials, and of course our website, which you can connect and see and get to know what we do. And
brilliant. Hellomedia.team is where you can find us on all the things and all the places. And I look forward to chatting about all things digital and productivity. That's a good topic for the week, I think, or for the day. There you go. It's great to see you. Thanks, Jenni, and thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.